Welcome to the Game of Life, yet another beautiful edition, but this is quite powerful and you need to pay attention because I have a powerhouse in the house who is a true embodiment of the Game of Life. She has represented Uganda at the World Cup Rugby Sevens in Dubai, 2009. She has won 15 titles, 15 championships in the 15s. She has also won 15 Sevens titles with the Thunderbirds. That's the Lady Rugby Club. Of course, her story is quite intriguing. Mother at 16, mother to twins. She's in S2. Her twin daughters are joining kindergarten. Finally, she goes on, completes her education, and before you know, the daughters are playing with her on the same team, Thunderbirds. And as we speak, they are at university studying business. Proud she is. And why shouldn't she? In the studio of the Game of Life with me, the one and only Winnie Atyang.
Alexander,
that's a new one. Welcome to the Game of Life.
3 names. Yeah.
Kopango.
Kope. Kopang.
Kope. Welcome.
Thank
I'm so happy
you.
to have you when you have no idea. Oh, how do you feel? First time here?
Yes.
Love that place?
First time here. There are 2 colors in this room that I love. My favorite colors, gray and black.
Gray and black.
Yes.
Good stuff. So welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you for hosting me.
I told my team I don't need any notes for this one because
Okay.
it's special, extra special.
Okay.
The things I've heard about you, read about you, followed about you, quite incredible. I've just unpacked what you've done, but you sit here as the manager of the Lady Cranes Sevens
Yes.
national team, Uganda.
Yes.
You had training before you came here, right?
Yes, I did.
So what are you preparing for?
We are preparing for Rugby Africa.
Okay.
It's an HSBC rugby qualifier, which is going to happen next weekend on the 15th and 16th of November in Nairobi. It will be at close to Nyayo Stadium.
Okay. Not in Ngong Road this time.
No, it's in Ngong Road, actually.
Ngong
Nyayo
Road.
Stadium.
Yeah.
It's in Ngong Road, Impala, I've remembered. It's in Ngong Road, Impala Stadium. So we're calling upon everyone. We have been preparing for a long time. We've been in the system from 2003 to date. We've gone to the HSBC World Series,
Yeah.
Rugby Series, 2 times now. This will be the 3rd year. Next year will be the 3rd year we qualify. If we qualify, we go for HSBC for the 3rd time.
Okay. And that's just one of the many hats that you wear.
Yes.
While you were here, you were still receiving calls from your girls,
Yes.
following up things here and there. You have a foundation as well
Yes, I do.
that you're doing. But looking at 15 titles in the sevens and the 15s, also representing Uganda at the highest level there can be, at least in our region, Rugby Sevens in Dubai.
Yeah.
And then dominating. I mean, if you win, we are just from Nam Blazers in basketball, ending City Oilers' 10-year winning streak of basketball, and that was long enough. If you're talking 15, I'm sure the day you retired, some people must have been happy, but what an achievement. And that's just rugby, but in life as well.
Yeah.
And which will take us back to the whole story. As I mentioned, mom at 16, looking back, I'm sure you even wonder how you did it as well, but overcoming that and then coming to ensure your children actually be better than you.
True.
In that regard, but also play the game, because we just introduced rugby, but you played basketball as
Yes,
well.
yes, I did.
And your daughters as well
Yes.
are
Played
playing basketball
Yes.
and rugby, but they're in school. You went back to school,
Yeah.
attained, good, sports management, name it, now managing the national team. Literally, you've done it all circle. And one would wonder, after all those early inconveniences, you wake up, dust yourself, and be where you are today.
Yeah.
How much did that shape you before we get deep into that very one?
Into the conversation.
Yes.
I am also the the first and the only female sports person I'd mention that has the Excellence Award from Uganda Rugby Union.
Okay.
I attained this not because of I'm better than anybody else. I attained this because of resilience and knowing what I want and loving the game of rugby. I love rugby so much that sometimes when things don't work my way, I cry about it. At 16, I gave birth to twins. I'll take you back, first of all, to where, when I got pregnant, I was married off as a child.
Before you got pregnant?
Because of the northern culture or the Lao culture, when a girl gets pregnant, for example, if you got me pregnant, you will have to marry me.
Yeah.
There is no stories of, I was just trying, we're just playing around. No. This person becomes your wife now. Your family has to pay dowry.
Yeah.
There is nothing like defilement from our side. Families come together, sit down. Our daughter, our son has made this mistake. How do you rectify it?
Yeah.
So, moving forward, I got married.
At 16?
At 16, married off. The person I got married to continued with school. Of course, if you're pregnant, you cannot continue going to school.
Yeah.
So I had to stay home and carry the pregnancy to term, give birth, and then see what's next. But the agreement between the two families, my mother's side and my husband's side that time,
I know,
is when she puts to bed, she has to go back to school and continue with her education because she's a child. She cannot be staying at home. So they agreed, but agreement of verbal that is not written, even if someone breaches it, it's difficult to backtrack it. But my father being the father, the kind of father he is, when that time came, he told me, you know what to do. But again, remember, in the Lao culture, when you get married off, you not, like when you break up with your husband, you do not go back home. It's a taboo. It's a bad sign. So I had to find ways of finding where to stay, but not going back to my parents' house. So I have an auntie Molly.
Just before you go to the auntie,
Yeah.
Your parents' house, where is it? Are we talking, you said
In
Lao?
Nakawa quarters, not in Lao.
Okay.
I was born and raised here.
Here?
Yes.
Your ancestry is in Lira?
My ancestry, my mother's side comes from Lira. My father's side comes from Amolata in Apache.
Okay.
But
they were all here in Nakawa.
they were all here in Nakawa.
So in that household, there was you and your siblings?
Yeah. We always had very wide family members staying with us.
Okay.
My grandmother, my cousins, my mother. My father is a soldier, so he would be home and out of home, home and out of home. So, of course, that's how we are raised. And our homes were always big because we had two homes, like two houses to sleep in. But we would go to one home and all of us have dinner or supper or breakfast from there.
Then go to sleep.
Then everybody else goes to sleep where they're supposed to be allocated to sleep.
Okay. So Nakawa quarters is what you're talking about?
Nakawa quarters is our home.
Okay. So you go to auntie, you're going to auntie.
My auntie, so when I left my husband's home that time, I moved, I couldn't go home because my mother told me, you know how it stands and you know how it is. You're not a child anymore and I cannot share the same house with you and you know that. So I moved to my auntie's home. Yeah. My auntie had, I don't know if you've been to the estates.
Yeah, I have. Even more recently when they are not there.
The estates we used to have a small, we used to call it a kitchen, but it would be like a small room where you can fit in a single bed and put in your suitcase and all those things. So that is the room that my auntie gave me. And she's like, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want.
That's Auntie Molly?
Auntie Molly.
Molly, yes.
Yes, she's Adera Molly. So she's like, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want. Whatever we eat is what you will eat and your children will eat that. And we'll see what happens. So when one evening I sat and I told her, Auntie, tomorrow morning, I'm going to go to Chitintale. Because Crane High was down here at Chitintale. Yeah. So she told me, what are you going to do? I told her, I'm going to pick my registration form. And she thought I was joking. The twins at the time were 1 year and 6 months old. So I came. That time transport was 500 shillings. So I had my 1K. I came. Taxi. I walked to the school, introduced myself, and told them what I wanted. And they told me, what class are you joining? Told them I'm joining senior 1. They're like, no problem. They gave me the papers to
Did you tell them about the twins?
I'm coming to that part.
Okay.
So they gave me the forms. I fill in, and School, by the time I was starting school, the twins are already 2 years. So my aunt is like, but now we don't have a maid. Where are they going to stay? I'm like, they'll go to school. So in Kataza, there was a school called Mercy Infant School. But, it got stuck in my head where the twins would fail to mention infant, so they would mention elephant school. So it was Mercy Infant School. So that's why where I enrolled them. So as I woke up in the morning, prepare myself, would wake up, the three of us, we all shower in the same big basin. We all dress up. So I'd walk with them I'd carry one. Tamara was the small one. And Phyllis was the big one. She was the chubby one. She was heavy. So she'd be the one to walk. So I'd carry Tamara on my back and their bags packed, and I'd take them to school. But as I'm doing all this, I had a part-time job at Kyoto Japanese restaurant, the first restaurant before it was close to Golf Course Hotel.
Yeah.
Up. If you used to be a party animal, there was a Japanese restaurant there. So I used to work there Friday and Saturday at night. So because I know you're going to ask me, how did you get school fees? How did you pay the twin school fees and things like that? So I would work there part-time, and my salary was 150,000 shillings. But it's funny to work at a bar where your tip, you go home with the tip more than your salary at the end of the month. So I had friends there. I'm very friendly. I befriend people easily. And most times I attract people's aura, the way I behave and things like that. So I got friends there. So I'd work there, and then in the morning, come back, I'd work like up to 6 a.m., come home, shower, go to school.
And you said Friday to Saturday?
Yes, Friday, Saturday. But when you're working at night, you come home in the morning.
Yes.
So when I work Saturday, I come back home Sunday morning. So Sundays, sometimes I would work Sundays. Why? Because I wanted extra money. And that I would be paid immediately. Like if you work an extra day that is not in your schedule, they would pay you. So I needed the money. So I'd work, play rugby, and go to school. And that is how I managed to give my children education. And I am proud to mention on this platform that I single-handedly educated my children to the level they are in
today.
From baby class to the university. I'll not tell you that there was support from any boyfriend, support from any family member from their side, or any friend. It was solo and entirely on me. When I talk about this story, that time I used to really cry a lot. By now I'd be sobbing, but now I speak with pride.
Yeah.
Because that time, every time I would move around my peers and my age mates, I looked like a failure. Because you can imagine you're in senior 1 and your classmates are sitting senior 4.
Who were once with you in the same class.
Who were once with me in the same class. It was an embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I tell people that I stayed in school for 4 years without removing my sweater. Every day I kept my sweater on because I was ashamed of my body.
Yeah.
But as I grew up and my daughters grew up, there was nothing for me to be ashamed about. The reason as why my body looked like the way it looked like that time is because I had brought out 2 human beings into this world, and I should have been proud about it. But our society and our community, really, the stereotyping is terrible. Like, it is really bad. Someone who has given birth at my age is the only person who will understand where I am coming from. But I would say rugby is my savior. I played basketball as well. I won myself a sponsorship at Crane High School because of the way I do not know how to walk slowly, and I don't know how to speak slowly. I am very aggressive. When you try to disrespect me, I'll put you in your place. So some people are talented in the community. They'll look at you, they'll see you, and they'll know, I think there's a positive in this person.
Yeah.
So Mugisha, I think he coaches with City Oilers. Mugisha Justus pointed me out to Mr. Peter Birunji, and he said, I think we have ourselves another basketballer in senior 1. You know, Peter is the kind of person who's like, we do things now, we close the deal and we move on. So it's like, what class are you, senior 1? We have an offer for you. Like, okay, what's the offer? Would like for you to join a basketball team in Crane High School. Of course, every evening, every time I would walk out, I would see the team, the girls undress, get on court and train. But that time our court was not Maram. Our court, how do they call it? Maram? It's not Maram.
It was Maram, really.
Maram, yeah.
Oh, if it's not concrete, it's Maram.
Yeah. So and I was like, will I play? It's like, but you're tall enough and you're strong. You can play this sport.
Yeah.
So I played basketball for the first time with a lot of excitement. Remember, rugby is a very aggressive sport. So I remember being given a ball, I held it, bounced it, and someone came for defense, and I handed them off, and they fell, and they're like, "You're not supposed to hand them off. Find a way to dodge them, crossover, pass the ball, but you cannot."
2 different rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mugi taught me how to catch the ball, taught me how to shoot. He taught me, because I was as a big man, so he taught me all those things, and I won myself a scholarship for 4 years.
At Crane High.
At Crane High. And so I studied for 4 years without paying my school fees. And
That's basketball.
that is basketball.
Yeah.
And he's like, we shall talk when the results come. If you're still interested being in the school, I can add you another 2 years. And that is how I completed high school.
Were you a prayerful person? Do you believe in prayer?
I am a very, very prayerful person. I don't want to go there because I get so emotional.
Okay.
But whatever I have achieved, I have seen God. Like all that I am,
It's okay.
all that I have,
Yeah.
is because, first of all, God answers my prayers in time. And I tell people, be very careful with me when I get on my knees and I put your name. I'm Catholic, and I tell Mother Mary that this person is stressing my life, and I need you to report this to your son. It happens, and when it happens, it's not good on the other person's side. So I try my best not to piss people off, because I report my issues a lot to God. And I first of all, I tell him, God, if I have wronged this person, please forgive me. But if I've not wronged them, give them what they hate the most. And that is my prayer.
Yeah.
I read Old Testament a lot because I believe in the old book. Because an eye for an eye. Why do you expect me to be nice to you when you've wronged me? I don't see it working that way. I don't understand it working that way. But sometimes when I'm in church, we have a Nigerian father at Namugongo, and it's like, Winnie, you're very vengeful. Do you know that? They tell me, I know that, and I'm not apologetic about it. But it is because of, I told you earlier that I have a condition that I was born with. It is autism.
Yeah.
But it is anger management. It comes with anger. But I've learned how to deal with it, because sometimes people use your weaknesses against you, and they'll get you to where they want you to be for their own joy. So I learned how to undo. I've unlearned a lot of things, but some of them, to my best knowledge, I think it's the best thing to do, because I don't believe in when you step on my feet, you tell me sorry and it's okay. Sometimes people do it intentionally to see what we will do.
Yeah.
And like, if you step on me, what do you expect me to do? I'll step on your back. But most people are like, no, but you can't do things like that. You know, you're a parent. I tell them I do not allow people to. I train my children the wrong way, because I've raised them without a father. I've raised them without a father figure. So I train them to be defensive, always. Keep your guard up. You'd never drop your guard. I dropped my guard and I lost 4 years of school. I do not expect you to drop your guard. Like if a child comes crying, oh, mommy, so hit me, I hit them back. And I tell them, next time when someone hits you, you hit them back. Because I don't have anybody else to train them. I do not know how to train children the other way. And my children are always like, mommy, we do not have anybody else to run to when you're really hard on us. I'm like, you run to yourselves. You're 3 of you, the twins.
Yeah.
It used to be 2 of them. So I tell them, run to yourselves, run to each other's arm, and let every one of you be everyone's confidant. And it has worked for me. I have raised very powerful women who believe in themselves. And
that tells me that clearly what happened to you when you were pregnant, when you gave birth, has shaped and provided all the guards around you, and that's how you live your life.
Yeah.
Because when you first learned that you got pregnant, or when you noticed you were pregnant, first things first, what was the reaction of your friends, of your family, and anyone immediate to you? Did you still have friends?
I lost very many friends who are my age mates.
Okay.
Because of, when you backtrack our time of growing up, parents never talked about sex education to their children. We learned everything by ourselves. So if you've gone to learn your own things and you got into the trap, that's on you. So I lost so many friends. I disappointed my mother, I disappointed my father, my siblings, because I used to perform so well. With all the struggles and traumas and issues I've had with my life, I got first grade in my senior 4. And that shows
which class, which school is that?
Crane High School.
Crane High School.
Yes.
Okay. Crane High, yeah.
So I got first grade in my class, and that alone, like when my dad saw that, he told me, "Do you know how much you would have achieved if you had not given birth?" Like, it's always a reference. They use that as a reference. Then my aunties also will use me as an example. You know, I want to be like Winnie, who did this and dropped out of school. It belittles you. It makes you feel small. It makes you feel not good enough. It makes you. It's a whole lot of stress to deal with mentally. But I would say thanks to rugby, because in the community of rugby is the only space that you're safe to share your story and get help. Because the first person, first of all, who motivated me to go back to school is the late James Park. He's the first women's coach in this country. He was Scottish. He came to Uganda, I think, to build his own pathway and things like that. He's the founder member of Hillside Academy in Bunamwaya. He was the owner. So he believed a lot in education and second chances and all that. So all his learnings and all these opportunities I got was from him, because he was the first person to give me money to go and buy my school uniform, my school bag. I remember him coming with a whole bag that had a raincoat, a jacket, and all these things, preparing me, because he's Scottish and I think it rains a lot in their country. So they prepare for all the 4 seasons. So he bought me also clothes to wear for all the 4 seasons. Like when the rainy season comes, this is what you do, and this. And then the boots, I had gum boots, I had school shoes, and I had sportswear shoes. So he's the first person who motivated me to get education. And then also being around women who are learned. At that time, I remember Helen was doing her master's. No. Buteme. I think she was not doing her master's. She was doing her degree in medicine, I think, because she's a scientist. And then I remember Lilian Ikulumet used to work with Daily Monitor. Yeah. She was a writer. Yeah. Iku was there. And so every time a new person came, we would introduce ourselves. But of course, you introduce yourself and then you sell yourself. Tell us what you do. That was the norm. So when the mic got to me, I was just Winnie Atyang Alexander, mother of 2. Yeah. No other title added to it. And for me, it was an embarrassment, because that time we were just building women's rugby. Every time there's a new person coming in, we introduce ourselves. We had people, very powerful women, very educated women. I'm like, I need to add something to my name. And that was the beginning of my motivation of going back to school and making sure I attain what I need to better myself, improve myself. And I had 2 people who looked up to me, the twins. So I had to make sure I motivate them to education. And I tell them, whatever you want to do, I am here. Yeah. I am here. And I tell them things the way they are, because I wish someone was there to tell me things the way they are.
And that rugby that has become a lifeline to you, let's trace it back. Where did you meet rugby?
My cousin, we grew up from Nakar quarters, where we have very many sports to play. There's soccer, there's boxing, there's basketball. So I grew up as a tomboy, and at that time I used to have a lot of energy. I didn't know how to use my energy. So I would follow boys, play with them, do boxing with them, fight with them. And my cousin, like, you love things that are aggressive. How about you join rugby? But that time, women's rugby was just evolving. So I went one evening. I had given birth to the twins. I went one evening and I sat and I watched the ladies pass the ball. Like, I can play this sport. I didn't have no sports gear, nothing. So the following training session, I asked, how many days do you people train? They said we train 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it was a Monday. Wednesday, I was the first person there, but with my daughters, because, I didn't have a maid. So I carried my twins. I sloped down with both of them. And then I put down a lesu. I made them sit there. I went on the pitch.
How old are they?
They were just 4 months. Okay. They were just 4 months. So they sat, and, in the evening, people from work, they're bored. They would come to watch the women train, come to watch heathens train. So I easily got nannies to take care of them around, and they would buy them sodas and things like that. So they took care of them while I was on the pitch. But I remember...
What shoes are you wearing?
I was barefoot.
Okay.
I didn't have shoes. Colorful. She was Brenda, but her second name disturbs me a lot. She was a Moganda by tribe. So she saw I was running. I'm very interested in learning the game. And she's like, but Winnie, don't have a sports bra. When you're breastfeeding, the breasts are a bit bigger. You're like, your cup size becomes bigger. So I was running, but as an uncomfortable. Every time I'd be fixing my bra. So it's like, on Friday I'll bring you something. She was the first person to buy me my sports bra. The first person to buy me my sports bra. It was so humbling. Like, every time I talk about my story, I have to mention her, and I hope she watches and sees this. And then another time, because that time I started training with the Thunderbirds. It was a rainy season. So, of course, being barefoot, you'll slide, you'll fall. But Chadondo would flood sometimes. So one evening, Jude Okello came. He would come, park and drink his beer and watch the ladies train and things like that. So he's like, I have something for you. Because every Saturday we played. On Saturday, I'll see you. I'll give it to you. So he came. He brought me boots. But they were hiking boots. They were not rugby boots.
The ones that leave a proper mark on
the ground.
Yeah.
But I did not care about that. I was so excited to have the shoes because they were my first rugby boots ever. I was so excited to have the boots, but they didn't fit because I wear a size 45. He brought me size 43. But I didn't complain about it because all I needed was shoes. I wore those shoes. I kept those shoes until my daughters were in primary 2. The shoes got torn. They got worn out. I think I lost those pairs of shoes when we were evicted from Naka quarters. I wanted to frame it because my story then started from there. I was then called to the national team. Not knowing the rules of the game, I hadn't learned most of the tactics of the game, but every time I had the ball out, everyone would be excited. What is she going to do next? What is she going to do next? I was that good.
Are you still in the room for Aunt Molly's?
Auntie Molly's.
Yes, at this time?
At that time, yes.
Okay.
That's 2004 now when I was called onto the national team. So my first money for the national team that I got was $100. I rented myself a house, a room with my daughters, because now I needed to give her space. Sometimes our family members help us and they do not know how to tell us, now I've helped you enough.
It's time to move.
It's time to move.
Yeah.
And I think Black people should normalize. Why I say Black people is we shy away from telling people the truth.
Yeah.
You're making me uncomfortable now. I think I've helped you enough.
Yeah.
Please I'm giving you this period of time. Find space and start something of your own. Black people never do that. They just start, maybe they stop talking to you. You read the attitude, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You read the attitude and I know this person is not, I think I'm occupying their space and they're not happy with. But I still had gratitude in my heart that she had helped me because she gave me shelter when I needed it. So yeah, I moved and I shifted and I put my daughters to boarding school in primary 1 because I needed to be flexible with school and rugby and other things that I did.
At what time did you stop one and concentrate on another? Basketball and rugby?
After senior 6.
You're like, okay.
Actually, senior 5, because I didn't play basketball in senior 6, because now I did my senior 6 in 2010. Now, 2009, we had the World Cup.
Before we go to the World Cup.
World Cup qualifier was 2008.
Yeah.
I was in senior 4, but also playing senior 4, but also preparing for my final exams. We qualified 2009. I was in senior 5. I got very busy with training. I couldn't do basketball and rugby at the same time, so I had to drop one. But of course, rugby, because I was going to the World Cup, I focused on that. Yeah. Yes. So the money that I was making, and then now, Peter was like, now, Winnie, you'll have to pay your own school fees because of course, it's a win-win situation. You play for my school, you get the education.
Peter, that's the owner of
the school.
Grand High.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm like, I totally understand. Business-wise, I really totally understand. And I started paying from the allowances I was getting from rugby trainings. I started paying my fees. It was affordable. We used to pay 295,000 at that time. Yes, a term. Yeah. So I could afford that time, and that is how I continued.
And you're working at Kyoto restaurant and bar.
Yeah.
And then you have training at basketball. Because you leave Saturday morning, you go for training at basketball. Then you have training at
there are days on Saturdays that I'd have games, rugby game and basketball game.
And then you've worked the previous night.
I'd have basketball like midday, then have rugby at around 3. So I would just take a border from Wandegea to Chadonda and play and go home. That is how much energy that I had. And still wake up and go to school because we used to do exams even on a Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
What kept you going?
I don't want to use this word because it's going to go on YouTube. I needed to prove myself that I can be better than anybody else. I needed to achieve. My daughter has looked up to me because I always tell people this, I am my own backup plan. I don't have plan B. And that is why I become very aggressive when someone tries to mess with my opportunity or my work or my job. I become very aggressive. But most importantly, the community. There are girls that I needed to motivate in my community that were struggling. So those that had stopped going to school but have lost hope. You necessarily don't need to go back to high school and study. But you can go, there's YMCA, there is MTAC, Nakawa. There are so many vocational schools that have opened up right now. It's better than our time. We were limited. But right now, you can upgrade your skills. You can go and learn a lot of things and improve yourself and have something for yourself. Like, be able to stand on your own. But for me, most importantly, is to shut the people who used to laugh at me up. And I'm not saying this to brag or to show off, but there is a guy who one time made a comment to my face that really stayed with me. It hurt me then, but it stayed with me. That oyo Winnie chamanya manyi kuzaala balongo talina kyasobola kwekolera.
All she's good for is
Good for
delivering
nothing.
babies.
Yeah.
Good for nothing other than that.
I had him. It hurt me, and I cried about it. But I said, God, stay with me in this journey. I need to keep some people quiet. And then also one of the players, I won't mention, one of the players who said, Banaba Winnie school dropout, Tebatumalida would be. It would not be fair on her side if I mentioned her name here because she's one of the people who came back and said, you've shocked us. You've really surprised us, especially when I did my senior 4 and the results came. And I was showing it to James Park because I always had a system where I would show him a report every time. This is how I did this. Because he would give me some notes to share from his school to read history, English, because he was an English teacher and literature. So he would share with me. So she's like, oh, you're going to become something. I know you'll become something someday. But she had forgotten that there are statements that she made once that stayed with me.
Even your classmates, the ones at the time you got...
Now, my classmates, now I'm coming to that part.
Yeah.
The school, one day, I go to school late. It was a Saturday. So, no, it was a Friday. It was a Friday. I dropped the twins to school. So when I dropped them to school, I got delayed. So I go to school late. So they would lock us out if you get to school late. Our latest time was 8 a.m. because that was the time that classes would start, teaching would start. So this askari locks me out and says, no, you... So I talked to the askari, like, but it's high time I told people the truth. Because sometimes I would struggle with sleep a lot. Like sometimes sleep just comes and blows you away and you can't control it. So I told this askari, I'm like, I need to explain to you something. There's nothing you're explaining to me. I'm like, no, listen to me. So I'm like, the reason why I've come late is because I have twin daughters that I have to drop to school and then come here. Before I come here, I drop them to school. But today I delayed. So tomorrow I'll not delay. And that day I think I remember we're doing tests. Actually, this was not class, we're doing tests. So he refuses to listen to me. So I think a parent drives in, I think, to come and clear school fees or something like that. So I got the opportunity to enter in this school. So he wants to lift me and take me out of this school. You do not listen. We're telling you that you're not allowed and you know the rules. And I'm like, but I've explained to you what my issue is. Okay, allow me to go to the office. Let me explain to them myself. But I didn't know that Peter, there was Priscilla, Madam Priscilla. There are a few people who are watching from down there, seeing me. I'm arguing with him. I'm trying to explain that he's refusing. So I told him I'm not getting out of the school until I talk to someone. So he's like, no, you have to get out of the school. If you want someone to talk to,
let them find you out.
No, write them a letter. You know how, because I'll deliver the letter and then I'm like, I'm not writing anybody a letter. I am late. People are going to do their tests and I'm here. I'm supposed to be doing my test. So when I was in the school, he fails to carry me out. So I end up tackling him into the trench. So when I tackled him into the trench, I told him, first of all, I'll file for sexual harassment. You cannot hold a girl by their skirt You're literally putting my buttocks out.
Yeah.
Like, but this is your fault. You didn't listen to me. Then I told him, now you're in the trench. It's not my fault. So he gets a cut. He gets up and he walks. Goes to report, but Peter had already seen. It's like, okay, they couldn't hear me, but they are seeing I am begging him, let me go and explain to the administration why I came late. So when he goes to report, I go to class. So they send another askari who was guarding who would guard the lower gate. So the askari comes to call me. I tell him I am getting out when I'm done with my exams. I will explain myself to the administrators. So I write my exam, and when I was done with my test, I give my test to the teacher. It was Madam Chirabo that time, but she passed away. So I tell her, can I excuse myself and go to the administration? They were calling me at the office. Said, you are the girl who was fighting here. You're bringing all your energy. She was a Menyankole, but she loved me so much because she used to teach English, and I used to pass her subject a lot. So I explained to Lillian. She was in shock. Like, she wanted to take back everything she had said. I told her, I am here on my own. I want to make something of myself. I have twin daughters that I had. So I tell her my whole story, and she had no words to say. She's like, I am so sorry you were treated that way. So I tell her, but I want to go and explain to the administrators. So when I explained to them, they were all in shock. I'm like, the whole time I am begging him, let me come and explain myself to you guys. He refused. What do you people want me to do? So Peter's like, oh, I understand. And Priscilla was like, are you sure they're your children? Because, he had given birth, and then also working out and training too hard as really small. It's like, no. Two people cannot come out of this person. You're lying. It's an excuse. I'm like, it's not an excuse. And I tell them, I promise you, when they are done with their primary 7, I will bring my daughters here. It is a promise, and it is a word that I've kept up to date. And I told them, whichever child I ever bring into this world, I'll bring them to Crane High School. And that is how my children ended up in Crane High School. And so, when I told them that, they're like, it is a very good story you're telling us. It is not true. They never believed me. Until I carried the twins and took them. And I saw mother's place, Winnie Atyang. And then I'm like, you are really telling us the truth. I'm like, it took you how many years to believe that I was telling you the truth? It was not an excuse. And so, it blew him away. And then also my daughters did their senior 4 from there, did their senior 6 from there. And because they used to really play basketball well and shine. Lugazi, Nalia, a secondary school, gave them a bursary. I took them there, I think, out of anger because they pissed me off. I'll not talk about what they'd done to me that time. Then I'm like, you know what? To hell with whatever I had said. I'll take it back. Let me take my children to another school. So when I took the girls to another school, I think they didn't like the school, but because they knew I was pissed and I was reacting out of anger. They could not tell me we do not like the school until I had an interaction with the deputy headmistress of the school. Is when I was like, you know what? This school is very toxic for you girls. Let's go back to Crane High School. So Peter's like, so you see, destiny is destiny. You have to keep your word. You owe me two terms. I'm like, no, and I take back my word. I apologize and all that. So the twins went back to Crane High School and they continued studying there and they completed their senior 6. And Maria also tells me, I want to go to Crane High School. Mommy, you have a big story there. So I want to also be telling them, my mother came to this school. So yeah.
So your girls know the story? The entire story?
They know the entire... I have grown up with my girls.
Okay.
Of course, I parent, I befriend, but I also tell them reality of life. So sometimes I just break down and cry when things are tough for me. I will not say all this has happened and it was a walk in the park. No. It's commitment. It's resilience. It is swallowing your pride and accepting to change certain things for the good of your children and for the good of the community, because we are who we are, but sometimes people don't understand us, especially me.
Yeah.
Like me, anybody who has encountered me, like most times when someone does something like, what did you do to who? You did it to Winnie. Are you safe? Because they have that Winnie in their head, the terrorist Winnie in their head. Because I don't let people go scot-free when they hurt me. I hunt you down until I put my point across. And I would not care how I put it across. But also growing up, I think, has shaped and molded me. And then also being into leadership positions has also shaped and molded me in a way. Because now sometimes, even when I'm very pissed, there are certain words I can't use. Because there are people who look up to me, my children look up to me, and everyone's like, I can't believe that came out of you, the whole you. a legend. And every time you're seated alone and you're like, okay, I think I overreacted. I should tone it a bit down. So that is how I have ended up here.
When your daughters turned 16, that must have been monumental for you. Because
We had a big party.
you went all the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, you looked at them and
I told them at your age now, I was
Yeah.
breastfeeding you guys, and we usually laugh over certain statements that I make, but I also remind them that I am not telling you to laugh at me or using it as a joke. I am telling it to you to remind you to stay on the main road.
when you look at them at 16 and remember what you went through at 16, do you even believe it?
When I see them, I see children. I don't know what came over me to get pregnant at that age. Because when I looked at my children at 16,
No, you didn't plan to.
Okay. How did I even survive? How did I even push two people? You should start from how did I even I pushed two human beings who were 4.5 kilos each.
You had a normal delivery.
Normal
of
delivery.
the
I
twins.
pushed two human beings,
Yeah.
4.5 kilos into this world.
Yeah.
I was 110 kilos when I was pregnant for those girls. And by the time I was breastfeeding them, I was 70 kilos. The stress, the sleepless nights, the trauma, the back chat when you're passing by people would eat me up. I would fail to eat sometimes because I am just memorizing the statements that I've just had.
And the support normally when you're in that state, which you expect from
You
family,
need it.
wasn't there, was it?
Wasn't there. You're in a new home. You're married off as a child. You don't see things like a wife. You see things like a child. Let me tell you, where we stayed, where I got married off from, Kolubia Close, Bogolobi.
Yeah.
Dolphin suits. Opposite
Oh,
Kazibo's home is where I got married off.
vice president.
The
at
vice
the time.
president
Yes.
that time. That home was so big. The house was a 5-bedroomed house. I had to clean that whole house. Do I was basically, I'll not call myself a wife. I'll call myself a maid. Like a married off maid.
Yeah.
Because now that is what I turned into at that age. But I remember every time I would be free, I would go and ride bicycles with the kids in the compound. And I'll just put the twins in their stroller. And then I would ride in the compound with, it's small bicycle like this with the kids. Because mentally I was still a child.
Yeah.
And then I remember my late mother-in-law making a statement of like, you got yourself pregnant because you so were richer than your family. Statements like that. That one I can mention on this platform. Those are the things that I'll sit and I say, I'll work my ass so hard, become so rich that no one can mess around with me or my children, and no one takes advantage of me or my children. Because of those statements, I would say, like, one evening, I remember I had returning and I had, when I was going to shower the twins, it would be like a nursery school. The powder here, the visigo here, clothes there, the towel. Like, I would use this whole space, like, to make sure that I'm taking care of the twins. And so she came and kicked a towel and was like, must you litter the whole place with powder and all this nonsense because you're dressing up your children? I'm like, but I need this space. These are two human beings. I need to shower one first. And remember, I don't have a maid and I don't have any help. I am solo and on my own.
Yeah.
So statements like those, belittling me, undermining me, making me feel like I could be nothing less than a factory, like a baby factory making human being. It used to really hurt. And those are the reasons as to why every time I had an opportunity or a scholarship, I would grab like the opportunity with both hands and run with it. So after senior 6, I joined MOBS and I did certificate in business administration. I am self-taught. Most of the things that I do, I'm self-taught because I'm into soap making. I'm into soap making. So I went to URI, in the Industrial Research Institute, and started doing research with some chemists and learned how to make soap, learned how to make detergent, bleach, and so many other things. But all this I did because I had gone to volunteer in URI. So I got the opportunity there and also learned. And now I have a brand of my own, not certified though, but I have consumers and people who take orders. I take orders from them and deliver to them.
Okay.
A few guys here and there.
What do you with the brand? What does it produce?
I give it my first name. It produces bar soap, liquid soap, bleach, hand wash, shampoo, and conditioner.
Okay, good stuff.
So I learned that on the side on my own. And then also I learned how to chef. I learned on YouTube and getting recipes and mixing and of course using my own recipes. So I'm also a very good, I'll not call myself a chef. I'll call myself a cook because I did not go to school to learn how to chef. So I also cook very good food. Yeah, but all those are self-taught. But I also did business administration with Uganda Olympic Committee. Sorry, Uganda Olympic. Is it Uganda Olympic?
Uganda Olympic Committee.
Yeah, Uganda Olympic.
UOC.
Because I'm thinking in the education. Yeah.
Yes.
So I also got an opportunity to study at UOC. I own a diploma in sports administration, advanced sports administration. And I also had an opportunity to go and study in Germany, but I didn't go because of the girls. I didn't have anywhere to leave them at that time. I've also had to get a scholarship with Brown University. I've never mentioned it in every show that I've talked about, but now I'm talking about education.
Where is it?
Brown University is in America.
Okay. I
couldn't travel because the year that opportunity came, they were looking for the best female player at that time. The year that opportunity came, my senior 6 results were not yet out. So I also missed out on that opportunity. So as far as education is concerned, that is where I am.
Given where you're coming from, I think whatever it is thus far is quite an achievement. And then your girls, you educate them all the way. They are now at university.
Yes.
What are they studying and which university are they?
They're in MOBS.
Okay.
And they're doing business administration. But they also study at MTAC. They're doing clearing and forwarding. So they're doing 2 courses at a go. Same time. And I pay the full tuition solo.
For all?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And clearly by doing 2 courses at the same time, they are true daughters of their mother.
Yes. I also have Maria. She's in primary 5.
Yes, Maria, who came 12 years after the twins. Why did you delay? Where did the husband married off culturally? Where did the husband go and how did Maria come
I told you I left?
Yeah.
And went back home.
Okay.
Started from scratch and built myself way up.
Yeah.
So Maria is, I love her so much because she came in as a consolation. I'd say in 2013, I got injured. It was a terrible injury. We were preparing for 15's World Cup qualifier in South Africa, 2013. So I got injured. I broke my collarbone and I cracked my shoulder.
Wow.
So I had to go for surgery. I did my surgery. It was successful. And so I was going for therapy. As I went for therapy, I would talk to Dr. Kamulega at Nsambia Hospital. He's a surgeon. So he would tell me, so what do you do with your free time now that you're not actively in sports?
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks for asking me that question. By the way, I'm getting into depression. I need to keep myself active and I need to keep myself busy. So it's like, get another child. So I'd already told him about the twins. Like, don't you think it's time to have another child? I'm like, yeah, it's
sounds
a good,
like a plan.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good suggestion. I think I should do that.
Yeah.
So I got pregnant of Maria with a boyfriend. I am traumatized with being married. I don't know if I'll get married again. So I tell him I just needed a friend that I would tell my problems and he listens to. So I had a boyfriend. I intentionally got pregnant. I did not tell him for like 4 months, but then eventually I told him that I am pregnant. He was excited and happy about it, but I told him I didn't want to live with him. And it's like, the call is yours. You have your reasons and I respect your reason.
Yeah.
But I think his plans were, I think he thought I would live with him for a very long time as husband and wife. But I kept telling him, I have my reasons and I really do not want us to inconvenience each other. If I'm not ready to be a wife again, I might disappoint you. It's not what I want. Because for me, my focus is sports, rugby, and developing myself and growing myself as a person without any man in the picture. Because I've seen what marriage can do to women. I am not mentioning this to discourage women from getting married. You'll get yourself a good man, well and good. You're ready for marriage, well and good. But do not rush yourself to get married because of pressure from anybody else. Because I have been married before and I know what marriage brings. You are there basically, I think marriage benefits men more than women. You're there to serve the man and forget all about yourself. And for me, it's what I have in my head, and I think it's what makes me stay from marriage. But that aside, it's a by the way. Where was I at?
The boyfriend staying with him or not? And
Yes.
then,
so
Maria
then I had
coming.
Maria in 2014, July 28th. She came into this world. She looks exactly like me. She behaves the same way like me, but character-wise, it's different. She's calmer, not aggressive like me. She loves people just like I love people. But yeah, that is how Maria came into this world.
So that boyfriend is still there?
He's there. He got married. He married another person.
Okay.
Yeah, he's happily married.
Yeah.
We only co-parent.
Co-parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how old is Maria now?
Maria is 11 now.
11.
Yes.
And the girls?
The twins made 22
The girls
on the
are twins,
6th
yeah.
of November. Yes.
22.
Yeah.
And the twins, just like you do some other life skills on the side, they also have stuff.
Yes, they
read
do.
They do.
Yeah.
Biscuits?
Tamara loves, Tamara is my Nakato.
Okay.
She loves beauty. She loves makeup. She's into those things, but she's also self-taught. YouTube has saved us a lot. We should thank
Yeah.
YouTube a lot. So most of the things that she wants to learn or upgrade is she does. She says, "Mommy, with AI and all these things, Mommy, we don't need to pay for more school fees. I will learn on my own." So she uses us as her dummy, and she makes us up, and she says, "What do you think about yourself?" So Tamara likes that. Phyllis loves cooking like me. She loves to cook, but I think she'll be a teacher. She loves children. Maybe in future, I don't know, but she loves passing on knowledge to other people and other talents that they have. They're also good with farming. I think they're good with agriculture. Yeah.
Rugby, how far? You go ahead. I mean, because your feeder club, Peacock,
Yes.
that's where they went to play rugby, and
Yeah.
then they come through Thunderbirds. Your club?
Yes.
This is a dream come true.
Hassan, I think, has those pictures. I did not know why he's selfish with those pictures.
We will
The
have to
first
get
time the twins played with me on the same team, I locked with Phyllis. Phyllis is the bigger twin.
First, pause. Your daughters
Yes.
playing with you
On the same.
on the same team.
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah, take
There are
us
some
there.
pictures that people have and they send, and I'm supporting, and it's mother supporting daughter and another sister supporting on the other side. It's a triangle of us.
Is there anyone else who has done that in rugby?
No, only
I'm
me.
not sure
No
in
one
any
else.
other sport in Uganda.
No one else but myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I play with them on the same team. And the more reason as why I stopped playing is because I used to mother them too much on the pitch. Like, you want them to play like you want them to deliver like you want them to be just like you.
Is there anyone who is like you?
Yeah, Phyllis plays just like me.
Okay.
She plays just like me because both of them used to watch me a lot play. Phyllis likes to get herself dirty. Tamara is a smart player. That's why she plays scrum half and fly half. She's a smart player. Phyllis is a lock. She flanks and she's played exactly my numbers. And she loves to deliver. She loves to get things done. She's that kind of person. And she also has very good leadership skills on the pitch, just like I used to have good leadership skills on the pitch. But she does it exemplary. So that is the kind of family that I have. But the first time they came to play for the Thunderbirds was we were less.
Okay.
And the reason that's why I played rugby for Thunderbirds for a very long time is I made a vow to myself, and I said, when I exit playing for Thunderbirds, I want to make sure that I leave Thunderbirds in a good position with enough number of players and enough support system. And all that support is going to come from me. So that is what I did. And I made sure that by the time I left, our team was strong enough to strike back. And I am proudly mentioning this on YouTube, on the Game of Life, that we are the champions this year for the Sevens series. We fell short on the 15s, but we won the Sevens overall.
Just that experience and feeling of playing with your daughters. How does it feel? How did it feel at the
It
time?
felt nice because Coach Chigongo Sebalamu said, do you guys realize that Winnie is making history today in Uganda? And everyone's like, oh, wait a minute. The twins are playing today. I'm like, yes, yes. And you're looking with the twins because I wore 4 and she wore 5. And I'm like, wow. And the time we played, what game was that at Chadondo? The 15th finals against Black Pearls was dedicated to all the mothers in rugby. And I was leading all the mothers on the pitch, me, the twins, and Maria. I'll show you the picture later. And I remember Tamara whispering in my ears, no crying today. We are not crying today. We are celebrating you today, mommy. And because I was getting emotional, I'm like, I started telling myself, Winnie, breathe. Do not shed a tear.
Yeah.
Breathe. And Tamara kept reminding me, no tears today, mommy. You are not crying any tears today. We're just celebrating you. Because that we lost by, I think by a try. And the Black Pearls took the trophy. But they played so well. I was the proudest mother of that day. And I remember people buying me lots of beer to celebrate me on that day. But I didn't get drunk and I didn't misbehave. So, yeah. But it was very humbling.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the importance of why we are on earth.
Yeah.
Leave this place a better place for the next generation.
And the girls are still there.
And the girls are still there. And that is my legacy.
Do they? Oh, yeah.
And that is my legacy.
It is.
And they're carrying it on. And both of them have been
and they are champions this year.
And they're champions this year. Yeah. Both of them have been called to the national team before, but because of their busy schedule, because they're like, Mommy, we do not want to have a retake because it's very expensive and very stressing. So let us focus with education. First, we can always play rugby. It's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Let's run through the national team. So one, leadership, like you said. Your daughters, I think one was a head prefect, another one heading something at Crane High, logistics or something, the entrepreneurship club.
Yeah.
Your captain at Thunderbirds, your captain at
Uganda,
at Lady Cranes, both 7s and 15s.
Yes.
And then did you also led them at the World Cup? Were you the captain?
No, Helen Buteme led them at the World Cup.
But then the journey to the World Cup and then the World Cup. Just take someone who wasn't there now.
I remember vividly was David Mutaka was our head coach and the late Seguya Robert was our assistant coach. A very passionate person, being your assistant coach. He would work us so hard. It's like, we need to make history. Uganda, not at soccer, not at netball, not at any other team sport, have gone to the World Cup. You girls need to make history. That is 2008.
Actually,
we had
just a small clarification there. Netball had been there in 1979, but they were the only ones, and no one in our generation knew. So this today was like the first anywhere in World Cup.
It was the first, but of course people would remind us. We're like, but how many decades ago?
Yeah.
How many decades ago?
Yeah.
We need to make history. So the time we're going to play the World Cup, we had issues. Women wrangles. Most of the best players, like most of our A players, boycotted playing the qualifiers. Rather, they made a team of their own to play against us, and they wanted to beat us. But we said, no, we shall make sure we qualify. So we played. As we were the qualifier, we fought. It was a battlefield that I can never forget. Like, I've had highlights in my life, but that one can never get out of my head. So day one, we lose to, I don't remember the scores properly.
Morocco,
no, it was
Morocco,
Tunisia.
Yes,
it was Tunisia. Tunisia used to be Tunisia, South Africa,
and Kenya.
We used to back to back.
Yeah.
Like, we used to, those are the countries that usually would give us a lot of headache and stress. So we lost to Tunisia day one. Day two, they tell us quarterfinals, we're playing them again. So we sit down. You know, our time we didn't have videos to review, but all of us would review.
In your head, you just remember.
Heads, they were not good at this, but they were good at this. How do we improve it? We are good at this, and they are not good at this. How do we mitigate this? How do we beat them at their own game, and how do we retain our own game? So we had a slogan: if they don't allow us to make a try, they will not make a try. We played by that slogan on the pitch, and every time someone else missed a tackle, we would remind them, you want to give someone an opportunity to smile at you. They don't smile if we do not smile.
Yeah.
So we played. I think that game ended 7-5. If I am correct. Tunisia. Yeah. It was either one try only, the quarterfinal.
It was 12-10.
12-10.
Yes.
Because I remember the difference was
12-10.
Yeah, the difference was 12-10. So the game ended 12-10, but you should have seen the Tunisians cry while we celebrated.
Yeah.
But that was just quarterfinal. Then came the semi-final. Then we won the semi-final. And I remember in the tunnel when the late Seguya Robert was telling us, this is the final you're playing. It was our semi-final because from Africa they take only 2 countries.
So if you made that, you regardless of what happens in the final, yes.
So there's like this, I want you to give you all. I don't care if you break a leg, break an arm, break whatever you break, I don't care.
Leave it all here.
But it is today and it is now.
Yeah.
So we went on the pitch with that in our heads and we played. And we played. I remember my left shoulder, and up to now it still comes out. My left shoulder popped out in the second half, and everyone, like, that injury break, everyone's like, who is going to replace Winnie now? And everyone like, Winnie, we just have a few minutes left. Please get up. I'm like,
push it back.
Push it back. So I'm like, you guys, give me time.
Yeah.
So the doctors came to put, I told them, no, I can put it back in. I had mastered. So I put back my shoulder inside. The pain goes. And then I'm like, can you guys inject me? And I play to the last whistle. So I remember the doctor injecting. I told him, you inject where I'm feeling pain. So they injected the painkiller direct into the socket. And I'm like, can you numb it so I don't feel it? He's like, no, it's not going to be healthy. You'll be overdosed. So I played with my shoulder. It kept coming out. And every time I would make a tackle. So I remember when I was being treated, a Tunisian broke a line and I was seated. I remember pushing the doctor away to go and make a tackle. So I made that tackle, rolled away, and then it popped out again. And like, I put it back inside. But he's like, are you going to manage? I'm like, we have to deliver today. It has to be today, not any other time. So I played with my shoulder, popping in and out. But the last whistle came when we were victorious, and it was the best moment of my life.
And the final, South Africa beat us.
South Africa beat us, but they worked for their win. Because I remember Christian Chisuto scored the first try. And we
actually led 7-0 at halftime.
7-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
And the whole bench, South Africa usually moves like technical team. Only 10. The head coach, assistant coach, S&C, doctor, physio, masseuse, chef, when they arrive, they come with their own food. That time. And we all looked up to them and we were like, wow. They all had new boots. Our boots were strapped. I remember my boot was strapped. It would open like this, but we would strap it with
like
tape.
Fish.
Yes. And then we would trap. Like, I didn't care about it. All we wanted to do was to just go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
And those are moments that do not get out of our heads. But some funny people want to bury it, but it cannot go away.
I mean, we lost, I think, 17, 12 or 15, around there. But then
the game was tight.
Yeah.
And South Africa, since then, they've never underestimated Uganda. They say these women are small but very committed to the sport and they love to win.
And that's the ticket to Dubai.
And the ticket to Dubai.
World Cup.
Rugby has really evolved. It has really evolved.
That was some good time for Uganda because previously, the two years back, we had gone for the men Africa champion. Yeah. And then World Cup women, 2009. That experience, only you has lived it. I mean, we don't know. Just tell us, what is it like to play at the World Cup?
It was really nice. It was a good experience. You are at Dubai, first time traveling. I remember, it's funny. I remember we went to the bathroom. We didn't know that their toilets have timers. So the siren went. We were just there. I was just there seated, having a good time in the loo, and then the siren went, wee, 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 wee. And then medics came to say me, they're like, are you okay? Is there any problem? I didn't know I had taken a lot of time
The toilet timed you out.
The toilet timed me out. And I came out and I was so embarrassed and everyone was laughing. But it was an experience that all of us it was our first time, really. All of us. It was not our first time traveling though, but it was a nice experience because we've gone through Dubai before. 2007 was our first time flying, really. But it was an experience that I usually tell mentors that, do you people know that I didn't know that water, like you go to the tap and then it's just like, I'm like, where is it?
It just senses and... Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, it's for sensing. Then I sensed, so I was the first person to know that it senses. I was showing off to everyone and telling, Winnie, how does this work? So I was telling them, just put your hands. I'm like, well, we take it out here. So I would not tell them the trick that I had copied from someone else. All these are experiences that we live up to going to a fancy hotel, like a 7-star, like from Nakara quarters to a 7-star hotel. Do you know what it means?
I know. From way back.
Do you know what it means? I traveled with a borrowed suitcase. Do you know what it means with a borrowed suitcase to go to?
Because you have to return it on your return.
To go onto the world stage and just go and play rugby and represent your country and wear your oversized kit, because this is Uganda would always have oversized kit because we would share our kit sometimes with the men. And all these are experiences we share with the girls today and tell them, you guys are in a .com world.
You used to share your kit with the men.
Yeah.
So whichever size it is, just slip in there.
They would make size considering the boys also.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever kit with they order with Samurai, they give them size that would fit both the men and women. And
how does it go down on the pitch in Dubai?
We lost, I think, most of our games, but I think we lost all our games due to fatigue. Our coaches didn't know. There was nothing like S&C control, all this fancy education that we're getting now, learning how to control the human body, embracing science. All the other countries had embraced science, but we hadn't embraced science. For us, we were like, Manyigech Fuba. But there it was at another level. It had a whole different setup, understanding of the sport. Like we are playing against developed countries. We are from Uganda. We are playing, we don't even know how much our allowance is going to be. They will surprise you with $100 and you'll be the happiest. You know, like there are really very many experiences. I remember us having an evening to go and shop and all my allowance went on to my kids. I bought them clothes. I forgot that I needed to save some money for myself. But those are things that we share with the girls, and the girls that I manage now, I share my story with them. And I use myself a lot as an example because I have lived it all. I have seen it all. And I have traveled with the team time and again to learn. And every time we would travel to different countries, we would learn new things. Like those are the things. Like I was shocked in the opening ceremony. We were next to Russia and I think Italy, and I think we're the only black people there because South Africa had mixed black and white, and they were treated special, different because South Africa is not considered to be Africa. They call us from Africa.
From Africa.
These are from Africa. And I never understood. And up to now, I don't understand that term. When I'm around them now, I ask them, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Did you borrow the word Africa from us, or you think you're in a different continent? Or you think you're very special? So sometimes I ask them, especially the black ones who say, you're from Africa. I'm like, are you white?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those things. Like you learn a lot of things when you travel, experiences that are amazing. You come back home and you talk about them. And I remember the opening ceremony was so nice. So our opening ceremony, we had black trousers with a sweater, like woolen sweater. I don't know. It was our own idea. We made it by ourselves. I remember that one, all of us contributed to make our own blazer. So we wanted to look smart.
Yeah.
Then the union had made for us a tracksuit. Oversized tracksuit, meanwhile. Oversized tracksuit, but we never cared. Like all our kit at that time used to be oversized, but all we ever wanted was to just get on the pitch and put on the national jersey and represent our country. And you know, our first game, I remember us playing New Zealand. They beat us, I think, 49-0. But everyone was applauding us for being resistant on the pitch and playing. We conceded tries and all that, but they saw us playing like they haven't made a try. They saw us, our retaliation was like, we do not give up until the last whistle. Yeah. And this is New Zealand. Yeah. So when it came out, we were celebrating 49-0 because we didn't concede 100.
I know.
So, like, hello, you guys, do you know that the team do you know the team we've just played? Don't even talk about it. We are proud of how we performed. Of course, we had not performed to our best, because of the fatigue and all that. We didn't rest well, but we were just happy to be there and showcase our talent.
From the despised, dejected, rejected Winnie coming through, making sure her kids come through with her. Now they are finishing university. She's also upgraded her education, captained the national team, and everything else she played with. I think you called time on your career in 2023?
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
I mean, you've represented the country at the highest level.
Yeah.
But when you call your time on your playing career, because of what you mean for the sport, the following year, Uganda Rugby Union say we are not letting her go.
Yeah.
We need her to serve new national team manager.
Yeah.
And here you are in that
Representing
Lady
the
Crane
Lady
Sevens
Yes,
from the
they
training
should
today.
see
Yeah.
it.
I mean, just how beautiful is this? It's full circle.
It is also added on my CV, on my rugby CV. But I would like to share how I got to this position. So the Lady Crane's team manager resigns and leaves. The place is vacant. So advertisement comes through to those who are interested in becoming team manager, Lady Cranes. But remember, I had done advanced sports administration, but I had not done team management. But I've managed without qualification. You manage how you understand how to manage with a motherly instinct. Just manage human beings and making sure what they need is available. So the calling comes in, I apply. I think 15 of us applied. 15 women applied. And we go through the panel. I'll proudly mention this, that my biggest supporters are men. My biggest allies are men. My biggest backbone, my biggest support system are men at that time. I have very strong women. We call ourselves soul sisters. We support each other. We have a history with ourselves. We've grown up together and things like that. And I'll put that aside, but I'll go back to the panel. I was disappointed by another female asking me a question of, Winnie, with this fire that you have in you, how are you going to manage the ladies? I asked, what do you mean fire? I'm going to mention this on YouTube. Women who fight other women because of their background, because of their history, because of what I used to do 15 years ago, because of my aggression 15 years ago, because I used to fight physically 15 years ago. It is not the same person you're talking to today. Look at me and my capability and what I can achieve for this country. Don't look at my past. Most of the time, people refer my past a lot and attach it to me. People buy buildings and sell them time and again. Our past are buildings that we built and learned from those buildings that we built, and we sold them and left them behind us. We are like I am growing into a different person. I am focusing into building my career and building my CV into a better person. But you keep taking me back to my past. Are you for me or against me? And I have weaknesses and strengths. How about help me improve my weaknesses and help me better my strength as a person in a leadership position? But someone sits and look at you in your eyes and they really truly want to fail you intentionally by asking you questions, knowing that it will trigger you and you'll snap.
This is someone on the panel.
Someone on the panel
who
asked that question.
Okay. And it's a lady.
And it's a lady.
Yeah.
Like I usually tell people, if someone is better than you in one way, I think you're also better than them in the other way. But how do we strengthen ourselves? How do we combine our strength and produce force that can develop and move the sport to the next level? How about you forget about my past? How about you forget about my weaknesses and focus on my strength, and we build this sport that we all love so much to the next level? I do not appreciate people who always tag others to their past. These are scars that need to be looked at and appreciate the scar that you have and say, this scar has made me who I am today. Because we all fall and get up. I'm not the kind of person who falls and cries down. I fall and cry moving forward. And what's next? And learning to accept where I am and learning to accept help. I'm a person that consults a lot because I know that I know, but I know that someone who has an idea that could move me in a better direction than my own idea.
Yeah.
But sitting on that panel, I am mentioning it today that I was hurt on that day because someone wanted to intentionally fail me because they have their own issues with you and they want to project it on you because you want to move to the next level. And I'll tell it to you on this. Please don't cut it off. She gave me the smallest score because she wanted to fail me. Because that time they were only taking 2 people, and then the ExCom can now vet and vote who comes in and who stays out. And I'll tell you that there are men who stand by you because they see you, they understand you, and they know you. And these men stood by me, and I'll proudly mention Godwin Kayangwe stood by me and said,
The president.
she will learn and she will grow.
Yeah.
And we're all here to help her grow and improve in every aspect of her life. This woman has served the country, played for the country, captained the country, produced children, gave them to rugby. None of you here have your children playing rugby. They're playing other sport. But she has risked her daughters are playing rugby with her. With all the injuries. You know, I've broken both of my legs, broken both of my wrists, and broken both of my shoulders. But I still stayed playing the sport and supporting the sport. I could have said, no, my daughters will not play this sport. It's terrible. But I told them, we have all grown up together in this sport because they have played tag rugby before. They've gone to pick up and they've come to Thunderbirds. We shall play the sport. I was hurt. I was really, really hurt. But I never showed this person that I was hurt. And she doesn't know that I got to know. But I'm mentioning it here today. Let's not always fight each other. Let's look at our strength and improve it.
Yeah.
And help me better my weakness. Because none of us is born perfect. And we all evolve every year. You're not the same person of last year.
Absolutely.
You're not the same person of last month.
Yeah.
Because you have grown, you have improved yourself, you have evaluated yourself. There's self-reflection. You know, most of the time I go back every day of my life because of, I told you, my weakness and my struggles. I go back and evaluate myself. How did I do today? How many people did I piss off today? How many people did I make happy today? If I pissed anybody else, was it my fault? Should I go back and apologize to them? Because I just got tired of being branded aggressive, tough, fighter.
Yeah.
I'm not apologetic for being all this, but I'm just so tired of people looking at you in that direction only and not seeing the good and the good things you have done for the country, the good things that you've done for the community, the things that I have done for the people I love, for my family members. People should always look at us past our past. Basically, that's the message.
That's quite profound. Those last 3 minutes were an address, State of the Nation address.
Yes.
I quite powerful, and well, it's good. You're making it clear.
And I'm happy.
Feelings.
And I'm happy that I've had a conversation with this person and told them, I do not appreciate you misunderstanding me every time.
Yeah.
I do not appreciate you lamenting my past all the time. It doesn't help me in any way.
Great.
If you're with me, you will help me improve. And if you are for me, you will work with me.
Winnie Atyang.
Yeah.
Quite profound.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing your heart. Now, what rugby has given you, what you've given to rugby, but also what you've given to the community vis-a-vis what the community gave you. I was happy to read that despite every other thing that you are doing, being busy, the game, outside of the game, you never stopped going back to the community. Naguru community, as well as Nakawa, the women, the ladies, young mothers as well. So you have a foundation,
Yes, I do.
Winnie Atyang Foundation. So how much fulfillment is coming through that foundation, and what makes you most proud about your life and the foundation?
And the foundation, I named the foundation based on my background and my story,
Yeah.
Winnie Atyang Foundation. So I was looking for funding, like presenting and looking for grants here and there. And someone said, this sounds very selfish because it is personal. It is Winnie Atyang. It sounds like it is one person who's trying to make money for themselves and things like that. And like, I made, and it's in my bio. I made this foundation based on my history. I want to support and help every female that needs support to improve their lives, especially with education.
Yeah.
And things like that, and whatever support that I can render. So my first experience, or the first people who supported me was Betway before they closed.
Yeah.
Betway came in and supported, because my beneficiaries are mostly Thunderbirds, teenage mothers, girls, and all that in the community. But also I go over and beyond and above Chadona Rugby Club, because I remember the community and where I come from, and some other mother or some other young girl out there who has given up in life. So Betway gave me my first funding. It was really nice. The outreach went direct to Naguru. We hosted that at which school is that? It's in Naguru as well.
Okay.
Naguru Katali Primary School
okay.
is where we hosted my first encounter with people coming in to support me. I remember, what is his name? Where do I find? Okay, it is Zakia who helped me connect me to Betway. They supported us. They bought us kit. They bought us water bottles, socks, and then they also supported us with back to school scholastic materials. They also helped us with sports gears, sports bras, t-shirts, shorts, and things like that. All this courtesy of Betway. And yeah, they were the first people to fund my project. And then also I have Friends of Rugby and Friends of Winnie Atyang who would come in every year and make hampers for our community, Naka community, Christmas time, like in December. They'll do that. So Winnie Atyang also hosted GBV trainings, gender-based violence trainings, girls knowing their rights and things like that.
Yeah.
I've also advocated for women, and we've had training for the girls, learning to speak for yourself and standing your ground. I've also done public speaking with the girls, training them to speak in public, and things like that. But all this courtesy of Friends of Winnie Atyang and Friends of Rugby in the community. So that is how I've been running my organization.
Fantastic. And if someone wants to support you with the foundation and the activities, how do they support?
If
one wants to support Winnie Atyang,
my email address is atyangwinnie@gmail.com, but not Winnie with I, Winnie with E. Atyang Winnie.
Winnie.
Yes.
Okay.
@gmail.com.
Is it double N?
Double N-E.
So, okay.
At atyangwinne@gmail.com. But it is one word, no space.
Fantastic.
And then they can also contact me or reach out to you, and then you can reach out to me. I want you to be part of my program, because I would like to take you to the Rayleigh quarters, where most of the people who are evicted from Naka quarters went and camped. And most of the kids from that community are tag rugby players at Chadona Rugby Club, and some of the girls come from there.
Wow.
So maybe someday you'll come with your camera and just film and look at how God is great to some of us, that we have moved from that state to the state that we are
Fantastic,
in.
Winnie.
I never thought that I would own my own bedroom and my daughters would own their own bedroom.
Yeah.
These are things that I talk about, and I stopped crying about it, but I just started appreciating and being grateful to everyone that ever supported me financially, verbally, emotionally. Like, there are those who just come and give you word of encouragement and tell you. Regina Lunyolo once told me, I wish you knew the power that you have and the aura that you have, because when you move into spaces, heads turn.
That's true.
People are threatened by you because You are who you are. What you see is what you get. You are not fake. You are just so real.
Actually, I think people are lightened up by your presence.
Yes.
When you arrived here, I mean, I was like, she
And-
told me on the phone she was tired. This is not tired. But anyway, as we wind up,
Yeah.
your girls,
Yeah.
sex education, have you had the conversations with them?
I told you what you see is what you get from me. I am very direct and very open. There's no better way to tell your children that when you have sex, it comes with pregnancy, but not only pregnancy, diseases.
Yeah.
Not only diseases, bad spirits. Like you can have sex with someone who has a bad spirit, and everything that you're trying to pursue fails because you have had a spiritual connection with someone who is just not good, and all those things. So we have grown up, and then also I'll be grateful to, I think, Minister of Education. There was sex education also in schools, especially high school. That I think that is my biggest support. Because the things that I would not explain to them better, the school explained to them better.
Yeah.
Biology explained to them better. And then social media, and then YouTube, and then all these things have been my support system, I would say. Because some of the things I would tell them, they'll want to go, okay, what, we need to understand what mommy has just said. We need to understand what mommy has just said. And all those things have benefited me raising them. Yeah.
And briefly, what would you love for women's sports, maybe especially rugby? What would you want to be done for the game, for rugby, to go to the next level? The public perception of sports,
Public perception
funding,
of sports, funding.
briefly.
Where we are today
Yeah.
is not so bad with the national team, but to the clubs, health insurance. Players need to be insured because the sport we're playing is contact. Players need to be contracted. They need to earn a living. Our time we played rugby because of the passion, but these girls really understand money. You know, sometimes when we do not have money to give them, like, you guys, today there is no transport allowance, but please bear with me. And I'm like, TM, so when are we getting our money? You guys know that we live far and we need the support. And so I look at them and like, but do you guys understand that our time we used to foot to Chadondo and back home to represent this country? But gone are the days. How many years are those?
That's not their problem.
And that's not their problem. These are TikTokers and things like that. They are so different from us. And when I look at them, I'm like, I'm so privileged and humbled to be managing these girls because I'm also learning from them.
Yeah.
I am a PO box human being here dealing with generational
Instance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sometimes I'm catching up with them, like they're putting me up to speed. You know, it's nice learning from them and also them learning from me. I tell them, you need to learn from me, especially when it comes to living life. Yeah. And we have quite a number of girls that are really leading well, like because I always tell them that make sure you utilize the chance that you're having here on this national team. Put your money to good use, so that tomorrow, if you're not contracted, or tomorrow if there is no more funding, you have a fallback plan. You can always go back and run your business and things like that. And most of the girls are having very nice projects, very, very good projects. Some of them have poultry, piggery, others are doing businesses. And it's a good thing for them to have because they're girls that they need to start depending on themselves and things like that. But to the clubs out there, we need to start contracting girls. Even if having a month, 100,000 monthly as a salary for them, I think it will be a very good motivation for them because these girls are living off what they earn. If they've played, for example, like now they played and they became the overall winners, they received, say, 5 million that Nile Special has given them probably, or MTN, because MTN came on board with the Sevens, has given them. That is what they will share and take home. Then what happens next month? Then what happens in the other month? So
a contract somehow gives you a semblance of
yes,
sustainability.
and also my appeal to companies is, please, when we bring our proposals to you, when these clubs bring proposals to you, consider them.
Yeah.
However small, we need all this support because you cannot contract players without sponsorship. Where is the money going to come from? You get. So I am just appealing and maybe requesting the government to mandate. These companies are making money in this, especially private companies. They're making a lot of money in our country, but they're not giving back to the community.
Yeah.
So I think they should give back to the community. At least they should attach to a specific sport and support. Or individuals who are doing sports, trying to pursue careers and support. But it's very difficult, especially being women, to have companies are very excited supporting men,
Yeah.
but they shun us down. Like, they look at us and are like,
And that message needs to come out every time we have an opportunity to bring it out. We need to bring
Yes,
it out.
we need these companies to give us opportunity. They can get mileage, the same mileage that they get from the men, they can get from the women.
Yeah.
Especially companies that sell products that are consumed by women or are used by women.
Aren't you the ones who buy everything for the family anyway?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So they should embrace us and they should come in and support us.
Sure.
For us to grow the sport of rugby, we need finance. So my appeal to all the other companies is, when we come to you with our proposals, please accept and support us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, Winnie, for your girls' education up to now where they are at university,
Yeah.
it's been down on you.
Yes.
And mainly it's rugby and the opportunities that rugby brings.
Yes.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And before we leave, there's a very exciting segment that we get into at the end. Very short, but brief. You'll enjoy it. To the viewers of the Game of Life, we cannot thank you enough for giving us your time to watch this. And I mean, it's because of your support that we keep bringing you these powerful and quite disarming guests like Winnie Atyang here. Her story is completely amazing, but also the resilience. You know, that ability of getting back up when she should be beaten and down. That's something that we all need to learn from. So always follow, like, but subscribe. Hit that subscription button and let's continue pushing this. Now, Winnie,
Yep.
we have a segment which ends our show. It's called Passing the Torch.
Okay.
Yes, just like you've just passed it on to your daughters
Yes.
as legacy to the game. Now, in this, we get to relay to you the message from our previous guest, but you also give whoever guest is coming next, who you do not know,
Okay.
give them advice.
All right.
Now, our guest who we hosted before you came on, his advice was, of course, man, his advice was that if you must do something, please be ready to do it 100%. Do it 100%, commit to it, and do it. So, Winnie, as
Yeah.
you leave the Game of Life studios, what's that piece of wisdom, word of encouragement, or message are you leaving for the next guest?
For the next guest?
Yeah.
Wow, I have so many in my head, but what advice can I give to the next guest? My advice to them is, let's leave this world a better place for the next generation.
As simple as that.
As simple as that.
As powerful as that.
As powerful as this. And why I'm mentioning this is because the generation that we came from has left the sport for the next generation to enjoy. We are collateral damage. The young girls are enjoying our sweat. They are contracted. They're earning the same salary as the men. They're earning the same bonuses as the men. But we didn't have that opportunity to have all that. So it meant that we left the sport for them to enjoy, and we left it a better place for them, a better and safe space for them to enjoy. But then, most importantly, let's use our strength to better our community.
Wow.
Because it is a community where you're leaving your children. And they will always refer them to their parents, especially if you're a parent. This boy is just like his father, if the father was good.
Yeah.
This boy is just like his mother, or this girl is
the
just like
mother
his
was
mother, if the mother was good.
Yeah.
And if you were bad, this boy is just... So bear in mind, we leave this world a better place for the next generation.
Winnie Atyang, team manager, Lady Crane Sevens, one of the very few who represented the country at the World Cup. Sevens,
One of the 12.
One of the 12 at the World Cup in Dubai 2009, captained Thunderbirds, as well as
Lady Crane.
Lady Crane Sevens and 15s, and the powerful story of how your life was interfered with early, but you made that a blessing in the end,
Yeah.
rather than just cry over it.
Yes.
And for that resilience and the power to never give in. I congratulate you.
Thank
and
you.
I wish you all the very best in whatever you're doing.
Thank
and
you.
it can only get better from here.
Thank
you for playing the game of life.
It's because of the statement that rugby has. Fall 7, rise up 8 times. There's no room to stay down. The world is tough enough.
Thank you very much, Winnie.
You're welcome.
All the best.
Thank you.
We'll be back here, but for now, it's been nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.